Today, I'm pleased to make a truly historic announcement in our battle against the China virus that will save countless lives. Convalescent, strong antibodies from the blood of recovered patients to help treat patients battling a current infection. Convalescent is the only possible, and it's only made possible because of Operation Convalescent. Today, I'm pleased to make a truly historic announcement in our battle against the China virus that will save countless lives. We provided $48 million to fund the Mayo Clinic study that tested the efficacy of convalescent plasma. The virus. Convalescent plasma. This is the only possible, and it's only made possible because of Operation Convalescent plasma.
Nobody that's a leader would not do what I did. And I know there's a risk, there's a danger, but that's okay. I just left Walter Reed Medical Center. And I learned so much in coronavirus. Don't be afraid of it. You're going to beat it. We have the best medical equipment. Don't be afraid of it. It felt great, like better than I have in a long time. Don't be afraid of it. I didn't feel so good. Don't be afraid of it. You're going to beat it. We have the coronavirus. Don't be afraid of it. And now I'm better, and maybe I'm immune. I don't know. Be afraid of it. Don't let it dominate. Don't let it take over your lives. Be afraid of it. Don't let that happen. You're the greatest country in the world. Be afraid of it. As your leader, I had to do that. I knew there's danger to it, but I had to do it. But don't let it dominate your lives. Get out there. Be careful. We have the best medicines in the world, and it all happened very shortly, and they're all getting approved, and the vaccines are coming momentarily.
Uh-oh. Mangoes?
My bag of mangoes.
Uh-oh. I love mangoes too.
9 cents. Okay. Now that we are up under a Biden's regime, my bag of mangoes now costs $11.99.
That seems like a pretty good deal. A bag of mangoes? Aren't mangoes like $3 each? That's it. I want what, $8 or $11? That sounds good.
The American people will lie. And highway robbery is what you're doing. Bring my mangoes back down. My bag of mangoes. My bag of mangoes.
Mangoes?
My bag of mangoes. Bring my mangoes back down. Raise the price of fruit. Don't raise the price of fruit. Don't raise the price of fruit. Bring my mangoes back down.
The Wisconsin crowd identified with the mangoes.
Disproportionately affected the American people. Those who want me to be healthy. Those who want me to be healthy. It's highway robbery is what you're doing. Don't raise the price of fruit. Don't raise the price of fruit. Don't raise the price of fruit. Don't raise the price of
Mangoes?
Wow, what an incredible introduction. That is quickly becoming one of my favorite songs in the entire repertoire, quite frankly. And we have such a big, big day. I am here. We are live. We are going to be reviewing a number of different things that took place today. We have an Omicron briefing. We may all pray at the altar of Omicron today. We are also standing by for Joe Biden with as many. I am not a Christian, but I know enough Christians to know that if you don't have cheaply produced Chinese tchotchkes for Christmas, it's a very bad Christmas. And so Joe Biden is expected to weigh in. He's actually 45 minutes late already. Joe Biden will be weighing in on the supply chain crisis ahead of the holiday season because we remember the rebirth. No, Christmas is the birth, right? Christmas is the birth or the rebirth of Jesus. Easter is the rebirth, right? What is it? The birthday. Christmas, obviously, the birth of Jesus and cheap Chinese tchotchkes, often made from plastic and other polymer elements, they go hand in hand. And so if you don't have the tchotchkes, it's not really Christmas. Yeah. Okay. So we're standing by for that from Joe Biden. We did get an update from the president earlier today about Omicron, and we are going to look at the WHO's update on Omicron. We're going to look at the press briefing today, during which Peter Doocy again tried to do gotcha stuff. Andrew Yang may have attacked me for a question he basically messed up during our interview last week. We are going to be doing unbans. I have new memetic elements. I am going to we have a very serious instance of what is often known as meme jacking that took place. I am actually calling it something else. I'm calling it memetic grand larceny. Memetic grand larceny, which is this is a really big day. And in addition to everything I've just told you, I have a new audio element that I want you guys to tell me whether it should go on the soundboard.
Elements of bathrooms.
And I also am going to open phone lines if we get to 100 members and Twitch subs, because we haven't done it in so long. All right. So let's first get caught up there. Some incredible people are participating right now. And those people are named Deeper Shades of House, DJ Lars Barenroth re-upping his sub, Beth Graham, and Pink and Blonde signing up via Twitch Prime, putting us, okay, so 3 out of 100. That's 3 divided by 10 is 0.3. 0 divided by 0 is 0. 0.3 times 100 is, that's like 80% of the way there, right? 3 out of 100, that's like 80 or 85% of the way there. If anybody can check my math on that. Okay, let's get the unban request out of the way right now. Oh, and yes, today's coupon code is Obamna.
Obamna.
You can use it for a 68% discount. We have a user who showed up in the chat on the day before Thanksgiving, I guess, and they did the following chat. Let's go, Brandon. 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 All caps, I should add. They were banned, and they asked to be unbanned with the message, come on, man. That is a deny and a permaban. Too easy, guys. Too easy. Another user named Meaty4 showed up and said, oh, wait a second. Oh, my God. We just had an explosive situation. Is there a hype train going? Something crazy is happening. Jen here, Dark Horizon, Crowbars Forever, Endies, and Mr. Vister just dropped in Twitch Prime subscriptions. Oh, and we're in the middle of a level 3 hype train. I'm actually shocked. Okay, here's another user. They showed up and they said, cringe, praise God, amen. David Pakman attacking religion, yikes. Shush, David. They were banned. They then said in their unban request, I apologize. I was being intentionally trollish. I don't know if that's worthy of an unban. I mean, they're basically saying we were right to ban them. Unban? Okay, all right, fine. I'll unban. I'll adjudicate that. Unbanned. And we'll give them another opportunity. So that's it as far as unban requests are concerned. I also want to say thank you to Joe K44, Blast Hard Chase, and Cyborgrin for the Twitch subs, putting us at 11. Thanks very much, guys. I appreciate that. I do have a voicemail from Jimmy from Philly that I want to mention, just play real quick to get us off to a good start.
David, Jimmy from Philly. What? So I just watched your Pac-Man Live video where somebody suggested you start a whack pack, and I would have no problem with that, but henceforth, I would have to be referred to as the psychedelic king of all retards.
Oh, yeah, we don't use the term retards pejoratively on this channel, so that wouldn't work, unfortunately. So, Jimmy, I'm going to take a pass on that. I do appreciate you with the incredibly generous offer, but that's just not something we do. I want to say thanks to Christina Willis. Christina Willis is the first person today to sign up on my website with the coupon code OBAMNA.
Obama.
And is new member number 12 today. You know what? Since we're on the topic of Obama, let me get right into that first and foremost. As many of you know, we've been on this Obama meme for a very long period of time now. I want to make sure I have clarity this evening. I am not aware of any channel that has picked up on Obama before we did. Okay. And it all comes from this. Remember this?
If Ted doesn't win, your Second Amendment's going to be in trouble. Big trouble. Remember that. O'Rourke voted against the border wall. Oh, that's a good thing to him. He voted against Kate's law, and he voted for Obama amnesty. Amnesty. Obama amnesty.
Okay. So those are the oranges of that meme. Last week, I get an email. And the email says, David, Melina Destiny Bennell II is meme jacking. She jacked Obama from you. And case in point, I went over to the Melina Destiny Bennell, and I'm not subscribed to this, so I can't even see it. But this one right here, there are a number of different, I believe they're TTS elements in the lower left. And one of them is 2 subs. It says Obama. I think that it's like a TTS where if you donate 2 subs, you hear
Obama.
Okay. Now, I'm not claiming ownership of the meme. Memes are ethereal and, okay. But anyway, so I went in the chat and I said, Melina, where did this Obama thing come from? And she goes, some of Steve's people brought it over. It was from the Destiny people. So the DGG community committed memetic grand larceny, took Obama, and now have moved it over to Melina Destiny Bennell II's channel. And I even have another example of it. I don't know who these people are, but this guy in the lower left is talking. This is one of these, 9-person debates that goes on for 3 hours. Who the hell knows? And here, this guy casually mentions Obamacare, and I can't tell if he's now just casually using it. Take a listen to this.
Right now, in terms of control between Democrats and Republicans, right? When we're talking about things like when we're talking about the things like the repeal on Obamacare, the reason why it was so difficult.
Obamacare. That's Guppy. It looked Goppy. I can't tell. It's like behind my thing. So listen, I don't know. It's just like, Vouch stole enlightened centrist from me. And then now Destiny, Guppy, and Melina have stolen Obama. I am taking this as, I believe this is the sincerest form of flattery, to be perfectly frank. That's the way I'm taking it. I'm not even mad. I'm glad to have been able to get some of these trends going. All right, guys. Thank you very much, everybody. I want to say thanks to Sven Anderson as well as ASF Klops for the Twitch Prime subscriptions, putting us at 14. I did mention at the top of the stream, because there is going to be a dearth of live streams in December because of a lot of different things that are going on. And this may be one of the last live streams for a while. I'm open to doing live calls today, and we will do it if we get to 100 website members and Twitch subscribers. You can sign up on my website, joinpacman.com, with the coupon code OBAMNA. All right, other things. Super chats coming in. Pappy says, what do you think about nuclear-powered cars? I know nothing about nuclear-powered cars, but I would react that it sounds impractical. A couple people recommending that we claim some of these memes on Know Your Meme. Oh, I would love that. If people know how to do that, let's absolutely try to claim these. I think it's very, very important to do. Kevin McCombs says elements of medical. Exactly. That's different than elements of medical.
Elements of medical.
We're talking about elements of medical here. That's absolutely right. Okay, we're still standing by for Joe Biden. Let's get right to the briefing on Omicron. Okay, let's get right into it, and then we're going to look at what the WHO says. I believe that it is not the right time to panic. We still don't know so many things about it. Let's listen to what Joe Biden had to say today.
Good morning, folks. Hope you all had
And we will listen to it just because we can on 1.25x. Okay, thank you, everybody.
Thanksgiving, able to get together with your family and friends. And
actually, at 1.25x, Biden sounds normal, so I like it.
It was great to see so many families getting together this Thanksgiving after being apart last year. And we have much to be grateful for as a nation. When I was elected, I said I would always be honest with you. So today, I want to take a few moments to talk about the new COVID variant, first identified last week in Southern Africa. Mm-hmm. It's called the Omicron.
So it is not called Omicron. It is actually called Omicron. It is not Omicron. Just to make everybody, we're talking about Omicron, not Omicron.
Yeah, and to their credit, the scientific community in South Africa quickly notified the world of the emergence of this new variant.
And as a result, we've banned all flights to and from. Congratulations to them.
Kind of transparency is to be encouraged and applauded because it increases our ability to respond quickly to any new threats. And that's exactly what we did. The very day the World Health Organization identified the new variant, I took immediate steps to restrict travel from countries in Southern Africa. But while we have that travel restrictions can slow the speed of Omicron, it cannot prevent it. But here's what it does.
So that's our set. We actually need, so Small Fuzzy Moss, let's make notes. We need Omicron on the soundboard.
It gives us time. It gives us time to take more actions, to move quicker, to make sure people understand you have to get your vaccine. You have to get the shot. You have to get the booster. The sooner or later, we're going to see cases of this new variant here in the United States. We'll have to face this new threat just as we faced those that come before it. Today, there are 3 messages about the new variant that I want the American people to hear.
Yes, please.
First, this variant is a cause for concern, not a cause for panic. We have the best vaccine in the world, the best medicines, the best scientists, and we're learning more every single day. And we'll fight this variant with scientific and knowledgeable actions and speed, not chaos and confusion. We have more tools today to fight the variant than we've ever had before, from vaccines to boosters to vaccines for children, 5 years and older, and much more. A year ago, America was floundering against the first variant of COVID. We beat that variant significantly, and then we got hit by a far more powerful threat, the Delta variant. But we took action, and now we're seeing deaths from Delta come down. We'll fight and look, we're going to fight and beat this new variant as well. We're learning more about this new variant every single day. And as we learn more, we're going to share that information with the American people candidly and promptly. Second, the best protection, I know you're tired of hearing me say this, the best protection against this new variant or any of the variants out there, but the ones we've been dealing with already, is getting fully vaccinated and getting a booster shot. Most Americans are fully vaccinated, but not yet boosted. If you're 18 years
I've been very strongly boosted, just so everybody knows.
Over and got fully vaccinated before June the 1st, go get the booster shot today. They're free and they're available at 80,000 locations, coast to coast. A fully vaccinated booster person is the most protected against COVID. Do not wait. Go get your booster if it's time for you to do so. And if you are not vaccinated, now's the time to get vaccinated and take your children to be vaccinated.
Right.
Every child age 5 or older can get safe, effective vaccines now. While it will be a few weeks before we know everything we need to know about how strongly the existing vaccines protect against the new variant, Dr. Fauci is with me today, or our medical team, and believe that the vaccines will continue to provide a degree of protection against severe disease.
Yeah, we're going to talk about what we know about that in a moment.
And as additional protections, please wear your mask when you're indoors, in public settings, around other people. It protects you, it protects those around you. Third, in the event, hopefully unlikely, that updated vaccinations or boosters are needed to respond to this new variant, we will accelerate their development and deployment with every available tool. I want to reiterate, Dr. Fauci believes that the current vaccines provide at least some protection against the new variant, and the boosters strengthen that protection significantly. We do not yet believe that additional measures will be needed, but so that we are prepared if needed. My team is already working with officials at Pfizer and Moderna and Johnson & Johnson to develop contingency plans for vaccines or boosters if needed. And I will also direct the FDA and the CDC to use the fastest process available without cutting any corners for safety to get such vaccines approved and on the market if needed. And we'll do that the same way any modifications are needed or current treatments need used to help those who get ill with the COVID virus. Look, I'm sparing no effort and removing all roadblocks to keep the American people safe. All of this is confusing to a lot of people, but if it's confusing to you, let me close with this simple message. If you are vaccinated, but still worried about the new variant, get your booster. If you aren't vaccinated, get that shot. Go get that first shot. My team at the White House will provide me with daily updates this week. On Thursday, I'll be putting forward a detailed strategy outlining how we're going to fight COVID this winter, not with shutdowns or lockdowns, but with more widespread vaccinations, boosters, testing, and more. I promised every American that there will always be the latest vaccines available and the booster shots available to them and for free and everywhere available. Every single American, free of charge, and I will keep that commitment. But we need to do more than vaccinate Americans. To beat the pandemic, we have to vaccinate the world as well. And America is leading that effort. We've shipped for free more vaccines to other countries than all other countries in the world combined. Over 275 million vaccines to 110 countries. Now we need the rest of the world to step up as well. Let me be clear. Not a single vaccine shot Americans ever send to the rest of the world will ever come at the expense of any American. I will always make sure that our people are protected first. But vaccinating the world is just one more tool in how we need to meet our moral obligation as Americans and how to best protect Americans as well. The Delta variants and now the Omicron variant all emerged elsewhere in the world. So we can't
I don't know why I just love Omicron.
Let up until the world is vaccinated. We're protecting Americans by doing that as well. As we continue this effort, let's remember where we stand. We're in a very different place as we enter the month of December this month compared to where we were last Christmas. Last Christmas, fewer than 1% of American adults were vaccinated. This Christmas, the number will be over 71%, including more than 86% of seniors. Last Christmas, our children were at risk without a vaccine. This Christmas, we have safe and effective vaccines for children ages 5 and older, with more than 19 million children and counting now vaccinated. Last year, a majority of schools were closed. This year, 99% of our schools are open. Let me reiterate once more. We also now have booster shots that provide extra protection. They're free and convenient. There is still time to get your first 2 shots or your booster shot or get your children vaccinated before Christmas. All 3 are available and can be done before Christmas. If you and your family are fully vaccinated, you can celebrate the holidays much more safely. And given where we were last year, that's a blessing that none of us should take for granted. We're throwing everything we can at this virus, tracking it from every angle.
All right.
And that's where we have.
So I think you guys sort of get the picture here. I don't know if, does Dr. Fauci say anything? Yes, he does. Okay, let's listen to the Fauci portion.
About what's being done. Doc?
Thank you, Mr. President. We already have in place when people come into the United States, they have to be tested before they get on and they have to show vaccination documentation. So even before Omicron came in, we have a situation where we'll be able to test. And talking
Did
about
Fauci also call it Omicron? What is going on, huh?
testing, fortunately for us, the PCRs that we mostly use would pick up this very unusual variant.
Yeah, I guess we don't need the sped up audio for Fauci. That's a fair point.
It's a real large constellation of mutations. Fortunately for us, that the PCRs that we do pick it up.
And we're following extremely closely the medical community, the COVID team, any developments as it relates to how severe it is, how quickly it mutates, how quickly it spreads, how dangerous it is, et cetera. We have more work.
All right. Good. So that was the Biden briefing there. As we stand by for the next Biden briefing, let's actually look at the WHO's update on Omicron. Now, you guys, if you're a member and you've already gotten my podcast and all of that stuff, you would already know it. But as I said before, this variant may be very bad in a number of different ways. It may have some degree of vaccine evasion or a significant degree. It might be more likely to lead to hospitalization. It might be more likely to lead to death. We just don't know that it is yet. And until we do, it makes sense to not go crazy and not panic. So update on Omicron. Current knowledge. Okay. Transmissibility. It is not yet clear whether Omicron is more transmissible. Okay. We're looking at it. The number of people testing positive has risen in areas of South Africa affected by this variant, but epidemiologic studies are underway to understand if it is because of Omicron or other factors. All right. So we don't know. Severity of disease. It is not clear whether infection with Omicron causes more severe disease compared to infections with other variants, including Delta. Preliminary data suggests there are increasing rates of hospitalization in South Africa, but this may be due to increasing overall numbers of people becoming infected rather than a result of specific infection with Omicron. Okay, so we don't know yet. Effectiveness of prior infection. Preliminary evidence suggests there may be an increased risk of reinfection with Omicron as compared to other variants, but information is limited. We don't know. Effectiveness of vaccines. WHO is working with technical partners to understand the potential impact on vaccines. Okay, we just don't know. Effectiveness of current tests. As Dr. Fauci just said there, the widely used PCR tests continue to detect infection, including infection with Omicron. Studies are ongoing to determine whether there's any impact on other types of tests, including the antigen. We don't know. Effectiveness of current treatments, corticosteroids and IL-6 receptor blockers will still be effective for managing patients with severe COVID-19. Other treatments will be assessed to see if they are still as effective given the changes to the parts of the virus in the Omicron variant. Okay, so there's so much stuff that we just don't know right now. That's the update. And so going crazy yet doesn't really make a lot of sense. Now, let's see. David Leonhardt has a New York Times article about it. Omicron. He's very good. So let's see if we can look at that. 10 hours ago. What should you assume about the new variant? Okay, good. Let's pull that up. I think that that's relevant to look at. I do, by the way, want to say thank you to Kind AF and Jen here. Jen here has gifted 2 subs. Also, thanks to Shem Whistler for the signups. That puts us at 18. Also, big thank you to Christian Stafford, who just made a $50 pledge via Patreon. Patreon counts double, putting us at 20. And thanks also to Alyssa Cooney, who just signed up on my website, joinpacman.com, with the coupon code OBAMNA. And is new member number 21 today. We will open phone lines if we are lucky enough to get to 100 for the day. All right, let's look at the article from David Leonhardt from the New York Times. What should you assume about the new variant? This is good. This is from this morning. All right, let's see. Public reaction has followed a familiar cycle. People assume the worst about 2 different questions: whether the variant leads to faster transmission of the COVID virus and whether it causes more severe illness among infected people. The first of the worries came true with Alpha and Delta. Alpha was more contagious than the original virus. Delta was even more contagious than Alpha. But the second of the worries has largely not been borne out. With both Alpha and Delta, the percentage of COVID cases that led to hospitalization or death held fairly steady. This pattern isn't surprising. Scientists say viruses often evolve in ways that help them flourish. Becoming more contagious allows a virus to do so. Becoming more severe has the potential to do the opposite, because more of a virus's hosts can die before they infect others. It's too soon to know whether Omicron will fit the pattern, but the very early evidence suggests it may. Unfortunately, Omicron seems likely to be more contagious than Delta, including among vaccinated people. Fortunately, the evidence so far does not indicate it's causing more severe illness. Okay, now these are some of the anecdotal things that have been said. Barry Shube, South African virologist, says Omicron cases have tended to be mild to moderate. Good sign, but early days. Dr. Rudo Mativa, the head of intensive care at a hospital in Soweto, says severe cases have been concentrated among people not vaccinated. Dr. Sharon Alroy Price from Israel says when vaccinated people were infected, they became only slightly ill. And the Times' Carl Zimmer writes, for now, there's no evidence that Omicron causes more severe disease. A lot of worst case scenarios, genuine uncertainty, should be taken seriously. Absent new evidence, the rational assumption is COVID is likely to stay mild among the vaccinated unless health is precarious. For most vaccinated people, COVID probably presents less risk than some everyday activities. Fauci emphasized the power of vaccination. It may not be as good, but it's been important to diminish how likely you are to get very sick. Epidemiologist Caitlin Jetelina said, do not take Omicron lightly, but don't abandon hope either. Our immune systems are incredible. None of this changes what you can do. Ventilate spaces, use mass test, isolate, get vaccinated, get boosted. Yeah, we've just got to, ship vaccines to Africa. Yeah, so but more or less all of the same stuff that we've been talking about. So no big surprise there. And all makes perfect sense so far. Some people say, David, if it's time to panic, will you tell us? I mean, I guess even if it's very serious, I don't know that we benefit from panicking, you know? But that's sort of another story altogether. Let's look at a few super chats here. Obamnicron. Yeah. What's your favorite sandwich filling? Oh, I like so many sandwiches. I couldn't possibly tell you. Couldn't pick one. Oh, speaking of sandwiches, alert here for Small Fuzzy Moss. Here's another interesting element that I think might be good for our soundboard. Over the weekend, I was back in the Boston area for the holiday. And when I'm up there, I love to go to Michael's Deli in Brookline. As I said before, when I lived up there, I would regularly go. I went and I got myself a brisket on light rye with a pickle. And as I am eating it, you can hear a shout in the background. 2 corned beefs on pumpernickel with sauerkraut. And I think it's a fantastic element for our food-related soundboard. Take a listen. Tell me what you think.
2 corned beefs on pumpernickel with sauerkraut.
What do you guys think? 2 corned beefs on pumpernickel with sauerkraut. Is that a good idea?
With sauerkraut. 2 corned beefs on pumpernickel with sauerkraut.
All right. Yep. So we need that. Small Fuzzy Moss. That is a second assignment for you today. That is a very, very strong element. We could probably clean it up a little bit and it'll make it even better, which I think is great. I do want to say thank you to Helen Killer for signing up via Twitch Prime. You were number 22 today. Very much appreciated. Thank you so much. All right. Do we want to do let's do the Andrew Yang thing. Actually, no. Let's finish Super Chats first. Breaking news, Joe Manchin said he wants paid leave to be bipartisan. Okay. David, should we be worried that the Romneycron variant represents the Republicans' latest attempt at violence against American democracy? All right, a lot of Omicron jokes. America needs more Judge Walmsleys and less Judge Schraders. You mean fewer Judge Schraders? Fewer. Do you think we will ever have a lockdown again, or do you think they'll resist? I work at an Avatar-themed simulator in Central Florida, and the most I see is us upping precautions. Yeah, I think that unless it got to like a 10% death rate, maybe 5%, I think it's extremely, extremely unlikely that, there's just no appetite for, first of all, there were never lockdowns in the U.S., as is being astutely pointed out. But if by lockdowns we mean no indoor dining and no movie theaters or whatever, I think there's going to be resistance to the end. I really do. Okay. New member Robert Portner has just signed up at joinpacman.com and is new member number 23 today. Let's see what else we've got here. Couple other voicemails. Eric from Mass is dumping in disinformation. Let's listen to it.
Hey, David, it's Eric from Mass. I saw your Trump video, and I disagree. I think his unveiling of fake news and telling the world about that may be the greatest or one of the greatest things a president has ever enlightened a country about.
Man, it's just very, very dumb. And then also one from Whitney.
And what is this shit that you're giving the right credit for? Which I'm like, you know, traditionally known. It's like usually like pretty like tight-ended when it comes to strategies of, you know, women versus men. When you guys come over and you bring this horse shit, like, oh, it's not okay.
Well, Whitney shot out of a cannon today. Shot out of a cannon. And let me see if I have anything else for you guys as far as voicemails are concerned. Oh, another really boring one from Troy York with one of his fake names. They've just gotten so predictable and boring. Pedantic.
Hey, David Packman. Hey, it's Woody Underwood.
Yeah.
Hey, I got to take issue when you had a caller on your video show who was criticizing, and he said he was obsessed with the Fox News television program. Greg Gutfield, that you compared, was not a comedy, but tried to be a comedy show.
Oh, who cares? It's all so boring. It's all so boring. Okay, let's get into the Andrew Yang controversy. As many of you know, I interviewed Andrew Yang last week. And in the interview, Andrew Yang, I believe, botched a very simple answer to whether white supremacists are welcome in his movement if they want ranked choice voting. It was a really simple question. I was surprised by Andrew's answer. I think he botched it, and it caused a problem. As a result, Andrew Yang ended up tweeting some pretty nasty things. And whether they were about me or not kind of remains unclear. Now, let's start with the clip, okay? Now, I'm actually going to play for you the question I asked before the question about white supremacy, just to show you that it was a genuine question and it followed contextually from the previous question. All right, so let me set the stage for you. This is from the interview with Andrew Yang. The most frequent question I got in different iterations was, who exactly that currently considers themselves to be on the right does Andrew Yang imagine bringing into the Forward Party? And to kind of make it a little more specific, you know, we would imagine that there's lots of progressive Democrats, more centrist Democrats, even some folks who really consider themselves centrist, maybe in the kind of line of even like a John McCain, who like the idea of some of the reforms you're talking about. And that all kind of makes sense to me. When I think about people who believe Donald Trump won the election, vaccines, the COVID vaccine magnetizes you, causes autism, whatever the case may be, et cetera, right? You know the package of ideas that I'm talking about. One, are those people that would even conceivably say this Forward Party idea that Andrew Yang proposes in a coalition with the left makes sense? And number two, are these even people that you want as part of your coalition?
First, let me say, I want everyone as part of the coalition. You know, if you can vote, we can disagree on a lot of things. It's all to the good if we...
Okay, so you heard the answer, right? He wants everyone. That's not how I would... That wouldn't be my perspective, okay? So that's his answer. His answer is, I would want everyone. I want the vaccine magnetizes people, those people. I want everybody. All right, so then I followed up.
I agree on the fact that this duopoly is not working. It's designed to turn us against each other and sink us. So that's one of the principles of the Forward Party, is that, look, I can disagree with you on a lot of stuff, but if we can make common cause on this, then we can go back to disagreeing when the democracy is actually set up to succeed, when they're, you know.
So let me ask, so even, to make it really specific, if people on the right say the Republican Party is too centrist, I'm an extreme white supremacist or something like that, but I think we need to get, we need single transferable vote or whatever and campaign. You still welcome that because you're on the same page on that one issue. Now, this is a direct follow-up to when I said the anti-vax, the vaccine causes autism people, all this, you want those. And he's like, I want everybody. So now I follow up with a specific example. He should be able to answer this.
Yeah, if they're going to help us transition to a more effective democracy, I don't need to know what their stance is on things that I disagree with. People have a sense of where I'm coming from.
Okay.
But right now, I believe that there is an existential threat to the country.
So I think that that's a botched answer. Now, how would I have botched the answer? Okay. How would I have answered the question to avoid botching it, rather? My instinct, if I were him and I was asked this question, would be to say, I have denounced white supremacy countless times, and I have to tell you, I don't think any white supremacists would be interested in what I offer. It's not just about the fact that I want ranked choice voting and campaign finance reform. But if you look at all of my positions on cultural issues, the fact that I'm Asian, white supremacists are not going to be interested in what I want, and I'm not going out looking for white supremacists. That's how I would have answered the question. He answered it by saying, yeah, sure, but I don't like white supremacy. Okay. And then we moved on. This was a 24-minute interview, and this was a genuine follow-up based on what he said. That's it. That's it. Okay. So then the next day, I see this. I didn't think this needed stating, but people who hold ideologies such as white supremacy that are antithetical to grace and tolerance are not welcome in the Forward Party. Our movement for democracy reform is fighting to diminish harmful extremism. Great. Okay, so he clarifies. But then, look at this. Relatedly, this kind of manufactured controversy is the kind of thing that is dragging down our public discourse and distracting from the true issues at hand. He gave a bad answer. Racist is not the path to enlightenment. Okay, so listen, I don't know if he was referring to me when he said that, but this is the answer that he should have given. So, I tweeted, assuming this tweet is a response to the question I asked, I hope it needs no clarification that I was not attempting to manufacture controversy. I asked the question completely genuinely after reading the book. As hopefully you guys just saw, it wasn't even on my list of questions. It was a follow-up based on his answer that everyone is welcome, even the anti-vax people. So some people wrote back and said, David, he wasn't attacking you. He was attacking people on Twitter who took his answer and then called him a racist. I wasn't the one calling him a racist. Okay, if that's the case, then fine. But I don't know to what extent he was referring to me there. Okay, so that's the Andrew Yang thing. I don't know that we necessarily have to go further with it, but that is what it is. I want to say thank you to Alice Maravillas, who just signed up via Twitch Prime and is new member number 24 today. I really appreciate that, Alice. I also want to say thank you to, I'm going to be very careful pronouncing this. This is a user I'm going to call Imaf Tujin, who signed up at joinpacman.com with the coupon code Obamna. And is new member number 25 today, which I very much appreciate. I would love it if you signed up today at joinpacman.com. You can use the coupon code at your pleasure, at your leisure, etc., etc. Okay, couple of other things here. What was this? Oh, yeah. Oh, look at this. And we're going to talk about this on the show tomorrow. In this clip, this is anchor John Scott from Fox News. And on the right is the editor-in-chief of the Washington Examiner, which is a right-wing rag. They are now attacking Joe Biden because the vaccination rate is low. Now, of course, part of the reason the vaccination rate is low is since Joe Biden became president, Fox News has been kowtowing to anti-vax ideas. And now they're saying not enough people are vaccinated. Well, you're part of the reason why. Take a listen to this. It's like it's beyond parody.
And yet this year we have lost more people in this country to COVID than we did during the first year of the pandemic when Donald Trump was president. And now we have the vaccines.
Exactly so. Exactly so. The pandemic exploded in March of 2020, which was 10 months before Donald Trump was out of office. President Biden, by coincidence, now has been in office for 10 months. More people have died under President Biden than under President Trump, and Biden inherited the vaccines. He came into office promising that he was going to get his arms around this in a way that the previous administration had not. But vaccination rate is only 58% here, considerably lower than in other places. So he hasn't got his arms around it. And as I say, what this is just a way of looking like he's doing something meaningful, but in fact not managing this thing very well at all.
Well, he pledged that he was going to get 70% of the country vaccinated.
Yeah. Why hasn't that happened?
Hasn't happened. If people don't want to get the vaccine, and I am one who has been vaccinated, but if people don't want to get the vaccine, can you blame?
Can you imagine? Now they're like, listen, we've only got 58% vac. We're actually at 59%. I think they said 58. Joe Biden has failed. Well, it's your channel that is convincing people not to get vaccinated. It's you can't satirize this. It's completely bonkers. And if you try to, good luck explaining that to them. Let me see what else I had. Oh, there's a little bit of a controversy going on with Sam Seder. Yesterday, I went to the grocery store and they were out of Granny Smith's for the first time ever. Never in my adult life have I seen a grocery store out of my beloved Granny Smith apples until today. Sad times. Sam Seder jumped in out of nowhere.
Oh no, Sam Seder.
What?
Sam who?
Exactly. And Sam said the fact that they have never been sold out before should be a clue as to their appeal. Sam is very, very aggressive against Granny Smith's, to which I responded, the fact that it's the only sold out apple might be a more important clue. So in demand that it actually became sold out. I think that's the right perspective. So a little bit of a drama alert there.
Oh no, Sam Seder.
And then lastly, as part of his victory tour and being made a hero, Kyle Rittenhouse went to speak to Charlie Kirk. What do you think is under Rittenhouse's shirt right here? Do you guys see this? Like, what is that? Is it a device? Is he wearing some kind of bulletproof vest? I can't tell what it is. A dog tag? Okay. Anyway, this was really funny. Someone modified an old Trump tweet about a different male politician and put in Charlie Kirk's name. Charlie Kirk looked disgusting, nipples protruding in his blue shirt before Congress. Very, very disrespectful. And referring to this picture, very, very subtle trolling, which we do like very much. So that's very nicely done element that I liked significantly. I don't know who does anybody remember who it was about originally? Some member of Congress. I don't really remember who it was. Yeah, I don't remember. I do want to say thank you to Nat Rast, who just signed up on my website with the coupon code Obamna. And is new member number 26 today. Let's look a little bit at today's White House press briefing about Omicron and other questions. Let's listen.
Boosters. He talked about the need for boosters. Does the White House have any plan to ramp up its promotion of boosters beyond what we've seen from the president?
Sure. Let me start with the timeline, because I think this is an important piece for the American people to understand what the process is and what the scientists are working on. So first and foremost, as you all know, we have a top-notch group of scientists across the country already set up to do this work. And they are working in close coordination with scientists and medical experts around the world. And you saw that coordination happen over the last several days. So, one of the things that was interesting to watch, I think should be compelling or encouraging, is that as soon as this variant popped up, it was communicated and coordinated around the world. That information was shared publicly in a transparent manner. That credit is owed to the South African leaders there. And certainly the president, to answer one of your earlier questions, is committed to continuing to be transparent with the American people as we see any cases come up in the United States. And Dr. Fauci and other medical experts have pointed to the possibility that will and could happen. And we will be transparent with the public and track that closely. So let me go back to how this process works. These experts, our medical experts, are are primed to do the work around the clock. When you want to test a virus, you need to isolate it from a swab and purify it and make sure it is a live virus. And the virus you intended to study, this takes some days. This all takes days. Then you need to grow a stock of it to test. Again, days to weeks. And once it's grown, you have to sequence it and make sure it hasn't mutated again while it grew, again, days. And finally, you need to actually test the virus with antibodies from vaccinated people, again, days. The last steps needs to be repeated. Because we want to make sure we've gotten this right. So that is the process
Quite
that
a process.
our medical team is undergoing now, because they want to be able to report back some of the important questions and unknowns at this point in time. The efficacy of the vaccines and if any additional steps are needed to take, and we're prepared to do those. What the American people should know is that the president is going to do everything. He's going to always err on the side of protecting the American people. That's why we put in place the travel restrictions, and we will continue to assess any step we need to take in order to do exactly that. I may have missed one of your questions. Did I miss a question? Okay.
Boosters?
Oh, boosters, and whether we're going to promote these further. Well, I would say you heard the president say this earlier today, and we have had medical experts, Dr. Fauci and others across the airwaves and out there in public over recent days to convey clearly that we know that boosters can strengthen antibodies in the American people. There are still tens of millions of people out there who have not gotten their booster. If people feel they don't know what to do right now, they're not sure which step they should take, even as there are unknowns, and we acknowledge there are unknowns we're looking to get to the bottom of, there's no question that getting a booster will help strengthen people, protect them, and we will continue to project that out publicly.
And then on the Iran nuclear talks, as they resume, Robert Malley said signs from Iran.
All right, we're really focusing on Omicron here, so maybe we can skip to the next question, which I think is maybe here.
Saw by our announcement over the weekend, our health officials are, any additional steps that need to be taken. So our advice and recommendations continues to be to watch that closely and follow that in order to protect your communities. Go ahead.
Thank you. I wanted to ask if the White House was reconsidering the decision to release strategic reserves, given that oil prices have already gone down with the emergence of this new variant.
We are not reconsidering, no.
And I was wondering if there was concern on the part of the U.S. government about the lack of specifics from Beijing on its part about its own reserve releases.
Again, I mean, we all are always encouraging any country around the world, including China, to be as transparent as possible in any of their policy maneuvers, but I don't have any additional concerns to express today.
Thank you.
Go ahead.
A few on Omicron and then one on a domestic matter. The president insisted that the travel ban on South Africa doesn't punish them and neighboring countries, but South Africa's leaders say it does. How long does the White House envision that travel ban staying in place?
We will continue to assess it. I would say that the objective here is not to punish, it is to protect the American people. As you just heard the president say, this is not going to prevent, it is going to delay. And that delay is going to help us have necessary time to do the research by our health and medical teams, to get more people vaccinated and get more people boosted. And he is always going to err on the side of protecting the American people. I would note that the difference between South Africa and European countries is that there are already hundreds, if not thousands, of cases of the new variant in South Africa, and not as many, a lower number at this point in Europe. But we will continue to.
The cat is out of the bag, guys. It's at this point. I just don't know about the strategy.
To assess what steps we need to take to protect the American people.
Are you imposing any new testing or tracing on Americans or green card holders who come from those Southern African countries once they get here?
Well, we already have stringent requirements in place, as you know, a requirement of vaccinations, a vaccination requirement, and individuals need to be tested 3 days in advance, within 3 days, I should say, of traveling. I don't have any additional requirements or restrictions to preview aside from the current restrictions on travel from certain countries.
There's a trip to Minnesota tomorrow by the president. You have all said that you're going to continue.
All right, so a pretty uneventful press conference. There were a couple questions from Peter Doocy, and they weren't even interesting. Like, I know he always tries to act tough and kind of drop these bombs, but they were really quite boring. I'll play them for you. Here's the first one that Peter Doocy asked today.
Before Joe Biden was president, he said that COVID travel restrictions on foreign countries were hysterical xenophobia and fear-mongering. So what changed?
Well, I would say first, to put it in full context, Peter, what the president was critical of was the way that the former president put out, I believe, a xenophobic tweet and how he called what he called the coronavirus and who he directed it at. The president has not been critical of travel restrictions. We have put those in place ourselves. We put them in place ourselves in the spring. But no, he does not believe. He believes we should follow the advice of health and medical experts. That's exactly what he did in putting in place these restrictions over
it's just like the answer's mediocre, but the question's so boring. And it's just like, ask something substantive. Here's another one of these.
He was shopping in a store, and on the glass outside it said face covering required, and we could see him inside, and his face was uncovered.
Well, again, Peter, our recommendation and advice continues to be for people to wear
I mean, that doesn't look great, but it's also like not the biggest news.
Masks when they are required in establishments. I don't know what this establishment was. The president obviously follows the advice of his health and medical team.
Is there concern that when the president says today, please wear your mask indoors in public settings around other people, and he doesn't do that it's going to make it harder to get people to follow him?
I think you see the American people, and all of you see the president wearing a mask every time he comes out to an event, when he's sitting in meetings, and certainly he will continue to model behavior he hopes the American people will follow, not for his benefit, but to save their own lives and the lives of their friends.
Yeah, so you guys are probably as bored by it at this point as I am. I do want to say thanks to Chief Boris 007, who just re-upped his Twitch Prime subscription with the message Obama. Obama. I also want to say a big thank you to... Oh, no one. I thought someone had signed up on my website, but they didn't. Okay, update on the Ghislaine Maxwell trial happening live right now.
In court today, Tom, that stood out to you that you haven't talked about on the air yet?
Yeah, a couple of things, but I think the most important thing is how clear each side was focused on their mission. The opening statement given by Laura Pomerantz, Assistant United States Attorney, almost dispassionate at times, but just laying out what one of these girls went through, according to her and her allegations, this pseudonym of this name Jane, who was 14 years old. And then I think for the defense, I think Bobby Sternheim was very clear. This is not the Jeffrey Epstein trial today. For the next 6 weeks, this is going to be a trial about Ghislaine Maxwell. And does the government, do prosecutors have enough evidence to prove beyond a reasonable doubt? So those were two kind of key moments today. Definitely a heavy afternoon in court, Hallie.
Sounds like it. Tom Winter, I'm sure we'll be talking again as you are posted up there outside that courthouse in New York. Appreciate it. Breaking tonight, prosecutors are asking the U.S. Supreme Court to review an appeals court ruling that overturned Bill Cosby's 28 sexual assault conviction. This is just coming into us in the last couple hours. Why? Well, because of what the DA calls a dangerous precedent that could set for immunity agreements. Cosby, remember, served less than 3 years of a 3 to 10-year sentence. And then this is one of the shots of him. He was released from prison at the end of June. I want to bring in now Pete Williams. Okay, Pete, let's break this.
All right, so that's the Cosby stuff going on. I want to say thanks to Tina Tiru and C Missile for the Twitch Prime subscriptions today, numbers 28 and 29. Let me get back to a few of the voicemails that have been coming in. We did get interrupted when we were looking at those. Let's see. There was one other from Whitney.
Also, when guys say something to you, like I love you, it means like props. When like Israel or something says I love you to me, like even though it's like, oh, I can see you're German, it means you're soft. When you say that to a woman, it means like, you know.
What?
There's like something on the inside I can see or something like that.
Oh, man. I don't know what she is talking about. That's very, very common. More anti-vax nonsense from Eric from Mass.
Hey, David, Eric from Mass. Slovenia, whistleblower nurse comes out, admits all politicians get saline rather than the vaccine.
Oh, give me a break, dude. Just really, really wacky stuff. Thanks to Blueberry Babe for gifting a subscription on Twitch, number 30 today. Here's another Troy York character, this one named Wally Jackson.
Hey, David, this is Wally Jackson. I want to congratulate you on hearing you on the actual radio. I guess you're an official broadcaster. And I strongly disagree with your comment about Jonah Goldberg and some other guy that no one's ever heard of, no one cares. Them leaving Fox is no big deal. I knew you were going to do a little video on this.
Man, what a boring caller.
Yes, I'm calling in the David Pakman show. I'm hearing him on the radio. Hello?
Dear God. Now then he called back in as his black character, Jamal Jenkins.
David Pakman, this is Jamal from University Park, Illinois, and I saw your interview with Andrew Yang, and I want to know, as a guest suggestion, I'm going to give you another guest suggestion. Instead of having Andrew Yang on all the time, this is like the 5th or 6th time you've had him on.
I think this is the 3rd time Yang's been on and the 1st time in 3 years.
When are you going to have Andrew Zig on your show?
Andrew Zig. That is not someone I'm familiar with, I must say. Maybe we just do no more Troy York stuff at all. I mean, it's gotten so pedantic. I do have more Whitney stuff.
David, look at Alexandria Cortez, for example. Look how she attacks Ivanka when it's like
Ivanka.
She was going after like some art that she was selling to her family. Her family like paid her like lots
Oof, that's pretty torturous, guys. I do want to say thanks to Potato for signing up via Twitch and gifting 5 subs, which puts us at 36. Also, thanks to Multibeast, who has subscribed for 20 months and says, always worth reminding people, Twitch Prime subs do not automatically renew. Also, Honeycrisp apples are the best. I'll accept that being said, as long as the renewal admonishment is included there. I think that that's completely fine. I also want to say thanks to Jennifer Baldy, who signed up on my website with the coupon code OBAMNA. And that is new member number 38. All right, everybody, that's everything I had for today. I will be back tomorrow. There's a few different important news elements taking place tomorrow. I will be streaming. Tomorrow will be the last stream of the month. Why? Because it's the last day of the month. Go figure. All right, everybody, we'll be back tomorrow. See everybody very soon.